My husband demanded I sell my pre-marriage condo to pay his brother's $3 million casino debt. His mom added, "Sweetheart, you don't really have a choice." My husband demanded I sell my downtown Chicago condo to cover his brother's $3 million casino disaster. His mother backed him up and even threatened me with consequences if I didn't comply. But where would my 5-year-old daughter Lily and I go? So I did what any mother would do when cornered. Let me tell you if I was wrong. I was 33, working as a freelance graphic designer, when I first met Dominic at Millennium Park during the Summer Jazz Festival. He was this charming investment banker who bought me overpriced festival nachos and actually listened when I talked about my dream of opening my own design studio. We clicked instantly. "You're different, Serafina," he told me on our 4th date, as we walked along the lakefront. "Most women don't understand how important family loyalty is to me." I thought it was admirable. God, I was so naive. We dated for 18 months before he proposed at Navy Pier, right in front of the fireworks. His whole family was there, his parents, Theodore and Vivian, his younger brother Marcus, even his grandmother. Everyone cheered. Vivian actually teared up and pulled me into this warm hug. "Welcome to the family, sweetheart," she whispered in my ear. I felt like I was joining something solid and loving. Something I'd never really had growing up in foster care. But marriage changed everything overnight. Suddenly, every decision in our Lincoln Park apartment needed Vivian's stamp of approval. What artwork I hung on the walls, what I cooked for Sunday dinners, even how I organized Dominic's home office, everything had to pass through her mental inspection committee. She'd show up unannounced with her designer handbag and that practiced smile, scanning our place like she was conducting a white glove test. "You really chose this shade of blue for the living room," she once said, running her manicured fingers along the navy accent wall like it personally offended her. I suppose it's contemporary." Then she'd drift to the kitchen. "You're feeding him quinoa bowls again? Honey, successful men need substantial meals. Red meat. Not this health food nonsense." I'd bite my tongue and nod because Dominic never intervened. Not once. He'd just kiss her cheek and say, "Mom means well, babe." "Honey, my mother called," became Dominic's daily greeting when he walked through our door. Not "How was your day?" or "I missed you." Always something Vivian needed, wanted, or disapproved of. When I got pregnant with Lily, I thought surely things would shift. We'd become our own little family unit, right? Wrong. "You're eating too much sugar," Vivian announced during one of her surprise visits, eyeing my bowl of Ben & Jerry's like it was poison. "My grandchild doesn't need all those artificial ingredients." "The doctor says everything's fine," I replied gently. "Doctors don't know everything, dear," she said, patting my belly like I was livestock. "Trust me, I raised 2 strong boys." Dominic just sat on the couch, scrolling through his phone. When Lily was born, tiny and perfect with Dominic's dark eyes and my stubborn chin, I thought surely now he'd prioritize us. Instead, he started disappearing more often. "Mom needs help with Dad's blood pressure medication," or Marcus called, "He's in another jam." Marcus was forever in some kind of mess. Lost jobs, evicted from apartments, borrowed money that never found its way back to the lenders. He was 28 and still lived like a college freshman with a gambling problem. "He's family," Dominic would say whenever I questioned it. "You don't abandon family, Serafina." "What about your actual family?" I'd gesture toward Lily, playing with her blocks on our living room floor. "What about us?" But Dominic was already putting on his coat, heading to whatever crisis Marcus had created this time. 5 years into our marriage, I felt like I was drowning. Freelance deadlines, preschool pickup, bedtime stories, all while Dominic played the devoted son and brother everywhere except home. "Daddy's at Grandma's again," Lily said one evening, coloring at our kitchen island. "Yeah, baby. He'll be back soon." But I was lying. Some nights, he didn't come home at all. The real bomb dropped on a Tuesday in March. Dominic walked in with Vivian trailing behind him like an expensive storm cloud. No hello to Lily, who ran to hug his legs. No kiss for me. There was something cold and determined in his expression, like he'd already made peace with a decision I hadn't even heard yet. "Serafina, we need to talk." "Okay. What's going on?" "Marcus is in serious trouble. The worst kind." Vivian stepped forward, her smile sharp as broken crystal. "He made some very poor choices in Las Vegas. Poor choices. Dominic laughed bitterly. He lost $3 million, Serafina. $3 million. The words hit me like ice water. How does someone lose $3 million? High-stakes poker. Private tables. He got in way over his head with some very dangerous people. My stomach dropped. Okay, that's terrible. But what does that have to do with us? Dominic's jaw tightened. We need to sell your condo. Don't even think about arguing. My condo? You want me to sell my condo? That's when Vivian spoke up, her voice sickeningly sweet. Well, darling, real wives support their husbands' family obligations. Family takes care of family, after all. The room went quiet except for Lily's soft humming as she played with her coloring books. I stared at them both, waiting for someone to say this was a joke. You're serious? Dead serious, Dominic said, but his face looked almost relieved, like he'd finally found someone else's solution to someone else's problem. Dominic, that condo is Lily's future security. I bought it before we even met. It's not marital property. It's a valuable asset. Vivian snapped, waving her hand dismissively. And right now, your brother-in-law needs it more than a 5-year-old needs a backup plan. Where exactly do you expect us to live, Vivian? Lily's preschool is 3 blocks away. This is her home. Dominic rolled his eyes. We both have good jobs, Serafina. We can rent somewhere. It's not like we'll be homeless. Since when is Marcus's gambling addiction our financial responsibility? Vivian's mask slipped just enough to show the steel underneath. Since you married into this family, sweetheart. When you said I do, you said yes to all of us. I said yes to Dominic, I shot back. Not to funding his brother's casino habit. Dominic's teeth ground together audibly. Marcus made a mistake. He's family, Serafina. You don't turn your back on family. What about your actual family? I gestured toward Lily, still innocently coloring. What about her stability? Her future? She's 5, Vivian retorted coldly. She'll adapt. Children are remarkably resilient. That's not the point. Darling, Vivian interrupted, her voice dropping to a whisper that made my blood freeze, you don't really have a choice here. I stared at her. Excuse me. That's when Dominic pulled out a manila folder from his briefcase. I've already contacted Henderson Realty. Got preliminary paperwork drawn up. We just need your signature. My hands started shaking. You what? And if you decide to be difficult about this, Vivian continued, stepping closer like a predator, well, let's just say we know some very good family law attorneys. Custody battles can be so messy. And so expensive. Especially for single mothers with unstable living situations. The threat hung in the air like smoke from a house fire. They were talking about taking Lily. My Lily. But here's what they didn't know, I'd been preparing for this moment without even realizing it. 3 months earlier, when Dominic started prioritizing his family's drama over ours, something in my gut had started screaming warnings. It's the same instinct that kept me alive in foster care, that hypervigilance that kicks in when people you trust start acting like strangers. So I'd done something I never thought I'd have to do, I started protecting myself. I opened a separate bank account at Chase and redirected all my freelance payments there. I even consulted with a family law attorney about setting up a trust for Lily's future, and putting the condo into it. Looking back now, after the bomb they just dropped, I knew it was the smartest decision I'd ever made. I see, I said finally. You've really thought this through. Dominic's shoulders relaxed slightly. I knew you'd understand once you heard the whole situation. You're a good wife, Serafina. A good sister-in-law. I looked down at Lily, still building her tower of crayons, completely unaware that the adults around her were trying to steal her future. You're absolutely right, I said calmly. I need to think about this properly. The next morning, while Dominic was at his downtown office and Vivian was probably planning how to spend my money, I made a phone call that would change everything. Martinez and Associates, this is Carmen. Hi, it's Serafina Chun. I need to speak with Ms. Martinez immediately. It's urgent. Within 2 hours, I was sitting across from Isabella Martinez, the sharp-eyed family law attorney who'd helped me set up Lily's trust fund months earlier. They threaten to take your daughter if you don't sell property that's legally protected in a trust? She asked, scribbling notes furiously. That's exactly what happened. She looked up, her dark eyes bright with something that looked like anticipation. Serafina, do you realize what you've just handed me? A case. A slam dunk. By that afternoon, the papers were filed, legal separation, emergency custody petition, and a restraining order preventing anyone from harassing me about the sale of trust property. Dominic was served at his LaSalle Street office the next day. The phone started ringing at 6 p.m. I let it go to voicemail. Serafina, what the hell is this? Dominic's voice cracked with panic. Divorce papers? You can't be serious. This is insane. Call me back right now. The second voicemail was from Vivian. You ungrateful little witch. After everything this family has done for you. How dare you betray us like this? I played that one twice. Then I saved it as evidence. The pounding on my door started around 8. Through the peephole, I could see Vivian's face, red and twisted with rage. Open this door, Serafina. We need to discuss this. Mommy, why is Grandma shouting? Lily asked from behind me. Because some people think the louder they yell, the more right they are, sweetheart. I opened the door just wide enough to hand Vivian an envelope. What's this? She snarled. A copy of the trust documents. Turns out Lily's condo isn't mine to sell. Hasn't been for months. It belongs to her now. I'm just the trustee managing it for her future. Her face went white as expensive paper. You planned this. I protected my daughter. There's a difference. I closed the door and turned the deadbolt. Vivian pounded for another 15 minutes before giving up. 6 months later, Lily and I are still in our Lincoln Park condo. Well, legally it's hers now. I painted her room lavender and bought her a canopy bed that makes her squeal with joy every morning. The divorce was swift and brutal. Dominic tried to claim I'd hidden marital assets, but the trust had been established before any of this drama started. His lawyer couldn't touch it. Last I heard, Dominic moved in with Marcus in some studio apartment in Wicker Park, 2 grown men sharing a Murphy bed, trying to chip away at casino debt by selling off furniture and electronics. Apparently, dangerous people don't accept payment plans. Vivian stopped calling after her attorney explained that trust funds are legally bulletproof and that her recorded threats about custody could land her in serious legal trouble. Turns out threatening to take someone's child is frowned upon by family court judges. Who knew? Theodore, Dominic's father, actually reached out to apologize. He said he'd had no idea what Vivian and Dominic were planning, and that he was ashamed of their behavior. He still sends Lily birthday cards. Marcus? Well, let's just say his gambling problem solved itself when he had to leave Chicago in a hurry. Something about loan sharks and kneecaps. Dominic won't talk about it, but I heard through mutual friends that Marcus is working construction in Phoenix now, sending every spare dollar back to his creditors. I got a text from Dominic last week. I miss you both. Can we talk? I made a mistake. I didn't respond. Some mistakes don't get do-overs. My graphic design business is thriving now that I can focus on my clients instead of managing family drama. Lily's in 1st grade at the local elementary school, making friends and learning to read. She asks about Daddy sometimes, but she's adjusted better than I expected. Some people think family means saying yes to everything, avoiding boundaries, and accepting damage just because you share DNA or marriage certificates. They're wrong. Real family means protecting each other's dreams, not sacrificing them. It means building each other up, not tearing each other down for spare parts when someone else makes bad choices. Vivian was right about one thing, I didn't have a choice. But not the way she meant it. I chose my daughter. I chose our future. I chose us. And I'd make that choice again every single day. The funny thing about protecting yourself is that it looks like betrayal to the people who were planning to use you. Dominic and his family saw my preparation as deception, but I saw it as survival. When someone shows you they're willing to sacrifice your child's security for their convenience, believe them. These days, Lily and I have movie nights every Friday. We make popcorn and watch Disney films, and she falls asleep curled up next to me on the couch. Sunday mornings, we make pancakes shaped like animals and eat them while watching cartoons. It's quiet. It's peaceful. It's ours. Last month, Lily asked me why Daddy doesn't live with us anymore. Sometimes grown-ups make choices that hurt the people they love, I told her. And when that happens, the people who got hurt have to make choices too. To keep themselves safe. Did you keep us safe, Mommy? I did my best, baby girl. She nodded seriously and went back to her coloring book. At 5 years old, she already understands that love isn't enough if it doesn't come with respect and protection. Dominic's family taught me that some people see kindness as weakness, generosity as obligation, and boundaries as betrayal. But they also taught me that I'm stronger than I ever imagined. That I can stand up to threats and manipulation. That I can protect what matters most. The condo is worth even more now than when I bought it 7 years ago. Lily's trust fund is growing, securing her future in ways I never had as a kid, bouncing between foster homes. She'll have choices I never did. So tell me, was I wrong? What would you have done in my place? Because sometimes the best thing you can do for someone you love is refuse to enable their worst impulses. Even if they're family. Even if it costs you everything you thought you wanted. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away. And sometimes walking away is the only way to save yourself.